Hello, everyone. In many cases we've analyzed before, there have been killers who, despite facing legal punishment, still garnered a large group of fans pleading for their release, often just because of their good looks. Some even married their admirers while serving time in prison, like Corey Swartz, who killed his wife and child for his lover, or Cameron Helen, who drove into and killed a mother and her son. However, in 2020 in Thailand, there was a murderer who didn't fit the conventional standards of attractiveness, yet still amassed a huge following of fans begging for his leniency. He even became an internet sensation and appeared in reality TV music videos. So what exactly happened? Today we'll dive into this case. Northeast Thailand, also known as Isan, is infamous for its harsh climate, barren land, and remote location, making it the poorest region in the country. Situated along the Mekong River, facing Laos, it lies in Mukdahan province. Here, in a small village called Ban Ko Kork in Dong Muang district, near Phu Pha Yan and the town of Mukdahan, people primarily make a living through farming, cultivation, and rubber tapping. At 9:10 a.m. on May 11th, 2020, Anaman and his wife Saw-Tree left for their garden as usual, leaving their 13-year-old daughter and 3-year-old daughter, known Champu, home alone. Although no adults were present, this was a small village where everyone knew each other, and strangers rarely visited. The older sister saw Nong Champu playing under a mango tree near the door and felt at ease, continuing to scroll on her phone. A little while later, she accidentally fell asleep, setting off an unavoidable tragedy. A terrifying search. Around 9:50, the older sister woke up and realized her little sister was gone. She frantically searched the house, but found no trace of her, then called her parents for help. Upon hearing their youngest daughter was missing, Win and his wife immediately abandoned their work and rushed back to the village. They reported the situation to the village chief, who promptly rallied over 200 villagers to join the search for Nong Champu. Over the next few days, the villagers scoured the village, surrounding forests, gardens, and rubber plantations, but there was no sign of the little girl. Some even turned to shamans for blessings to aid the search, yet still found nothing. The entire village was gripped with worry and fear. Though some villagers reported seeing a suspicious person, they lacked solid evidence since the village had few surveillance cameras. On May 14th, the fourth day since Nong Champu's disappearance, police, villagers, and tracking dogs launched a search on Rafe Mountain near Ban Ko Kork. At 7 p.m., they discovered a pair of green children's sandals on a rock. Shortly after, Nong Champu's naked body was found in bushes 10 meters from the sandals. 36 strands of hair, cut with a knife, were scattered nearby. The pink shorts she wore when she went missing were found 20 meters away from her body, near a 2-meter-high rock. The police then examined the body to determine the cause of Nong Champu's death. Despite many rumors, forensic tests revealed only scratches from branches and rocks. No signs of beating or sexual assault. Thus, the cause of death wasn't violence or rape, but rather malnutrition, dehydration, and starvation. However, this raised the question, why was Nong Champu's body found in the forest? Although Rafe Mountain is close to Ban Ko Kork, about 2 kilometers away, how could a 3-year-old, who couldn't even climb stairs, make it up such a steep slope on her own? After investigating 384 statements, dismissing 113 false ones, and testing 154 DNA samples, the police concluded that Nong Champu had definitely been taken to the mountain by someone. Though it wasn't explicitly stated in the press conference, during the investigation, the police ruled out villagers with alibis. In the end, all suspicion pointed to one person, Champu Wifa, Nong Champu's uncle. Champu Wifa, born on August 17, 1976, was 45 years old at the time and lived with Nong Champu's family in Ban Ko Kork village. He worked as a rubber tapper, was married to the sister of Nong Champu's mother, and had 2 sons. In his youth, he'd worked in direct marketing, selling health products, which made him skilled at communication and persuasion. According to Saw-Tree and other villagers, Champu had long shown a special interest in religious activities like magic and prophecies. Since Nong Champu's birth, he had doted on her, even once expressing a desire to adopt her. When she went missing, rumors swirled in the village that Champu might have targeted her fate, intending to offer her as a sacrificial victim. Sawatri also began suspecting her brother-in-law harbored ill intentions. However, the police didn't base their case against Champu on rumors, but on compelling evidence. They determined that known Champu disappeared between 9:10 and 9:50 a.m., while her older sister from the Wongsricha family was asleep. According to the Wongsricha couple, known Champu was a very shy child who would cry and panic around strangers. Thus, the only person who could have taken her had to be someone familiar from the family. The family had only 12 relatives and 2 friends close enough to fit the profile. After interrogating known Champu's relatives and family friends, the police found that all of them had clear alibis. Only Champu remained without a solid explanation. He claimed that on the morning of the incident, he had an appointment to pick up a Buddhist amulet at Phaisi Temple, and the abbot confirmed he was there at 10:07 a.m. However, Champu also said he left the rubber plantation at 9:20 a.m., went home to bathe and change, and then headed to the temple. Meanwhile, known Champu's disappearance occurred between 9:10 and 9:50 a.m., leading many to believe he had enough time to commit the act. Despite this, all the police had were Champu's statements, with no concrete evidence to charge him. Still, he remained the sole suspect. Though temporarily released, he lived under a cloud of suspicion. As the investigation continued, Champu kept a low profile. However, with the prolonged pandemic leaving Thais restless, this mysterious case captured widespread attention. Netizens turned into amateur detectives, and Champu's name began to gain notoriety. An unexpected turnaround. Initially, Champu appeared in the media as a grieving relative helping search for known Champu on the mountain. When her body was found, he fell to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Though some now see his tears as exaggerated, his actions touched many at the time, convincing them he was a loving uncle. This sparked a growing misconception about his status as a suspect, leading people to defend him and insist he was wrongfully accused. Sensing the case's appeal, Thai TV programs quickly invited Champu to appear. Major news channels aired these shows relentlessly, casting him as a devoted uncle misunderstood by society. With heavy media influence, more people became convinced he was a victim of a mix-up. They praised his polished appearance and composed demeanor, arguing he couldn't possibly commit such a heinous act as murder. It didn't stop there. Some even criticized known Champu's mother for her irresponsibility, pointing to inconsistencies in her actions and her decision to cremate known Champu's body too soon. The media frenzy continued, turning Champu's life into a reality show. Seizing the opportunity, he and his wife launched a YouTube channel. Alongside a dedicated fan base, they posted dozens of daily videos and hosted live streams to share their lives, accepting donations from supporters. Their channel quickly amassed over 220,000 subscribers. Even more astonishingly, Champu began receiving product endorsement offers and appeared in music videos with famous Thai artists like Chin Darafanal. From being the sole suspect in a murder case, he transformed into an economic boon for the small village of Ban Ko Kork. An almost unbelievable twist, a series of suspicious clues. While Champu and his wife became internet celebrities raking in substantial earnings, the police didn't give up their search for evidence. They first discovered that known Champu's older sister called her parents for help at 10:02 a.m. The Wongsricha couple rushed back to the village, but didn't inform anyone about the disappearance. Yet, monks at the temple reported that when Champu arrived at 10:07 a.m., he immediately mentioned known Champu's disappearance. Though he later explained he'd received a call from his wife while driving. The reality was that he and his wife shared one phone, which was with her at the time. She couldn't have called him, and she didn't even know about the disappearance yet. So how did Champu know in advance? Unless he was already aware? The police then reviewed the village's scarce surveillance footage. On the day known Champu vanished, Champu's silver pickup truck was spotted on the road at 10:59 a.m. However, It didn't reappear in the footage until 4:07 p.m., leaving no proof of an alibi during the critical 40-minute window of her disappearance. The story began at 9:20 a.m., when a villager named Pan encountered Champu on the path from the rubber plantation back home. What struck Pan as odd was that Champu wasn't his usual self. Normally, when working in the rubber fields, he wore full gear, mosquito repellent, and a protective hat. That day, he wore only simple pants, carried a knife, and strangely, had no repellent or hat. This raised Pan's suspicions. That day, Champu only tapped 6 rubber trees before abruptly ending his work, as if he'd gone to the plantation just for show. This unusual behavior fueled doubts about his true intentions. Even more telling, Pan later revealed a key detail. Champu had tried to intimidate her into changing her statement, claiming they'd met at 7 a.m., not 9:20 a.m. as she'd told the police. These contradictions in his account only deepened the suspicion surrounding him. After piecing together various testimonies, the police uncovered a noteworthy detail. After Champu left the rubber plantation at 9:20 a.m., he encountered Pan on his way back and took about 10 minutes to reach the temple. If he met the monks at 10:07 a.m., that left a 37-minute gap between leaving the plantation and arriving at the temple with no clear alibi. This led the police to suspect Champu might have done something shady during that time. However, one of the most critical pieces of evidence came from seemingly minor details often overlooked. During the investigation, the police found 16 strands of hair in Champu's pickup truck. After thorough analysis with advanced equipment, they discovered that these hairs had cut angles identical to those found near Nong Champu's body. This suggested the hairs were cut at the same time, close to when Nong Champu disappeared. Investigators speculated that Champu might have believed cutting someone's hair could suppress their spirit, inadvertently bringing those hairs into his truck without realizing it. Beyond the hairs belonging to Nong Champu, the police also found one strand that wasn't hers. DNA testing revealed it belonged to Champu's wife. This raised suspicions that she accompanied him to the mountain at 4:50 p.m. on the day Nong Champu vanished. They may have altered the scene, removing her clothes and repositioning her body to create a false impression of sexual assault and mislead the police. After reviewing all the evidence, the police concluded that Champu and his wife were directly involved. They requested arrest warrants for both. On June 1st, 2021, over a year after Nong Champu's death, police arrived at Champu's home at 6:15 a.m. to arrest him. However, he was in Bangkok Court, preventing an immediate arrest. At 10:30 a.m. that day, Champu turned himself in at the local Bangkok Court police station. Still, he insisted he was only cooperating and had no intention of confessing. He maintained, "An innocent person has nothing to fear." He was then transported to Mukdahan by helicopter. Despite his arrest, Champu refused to admit guilt. The police charged him with negligent homicide, child abduction, and obstructing justice, while his wife faced charges of obstructing justice. A key point in this case is that Champu wasn't charged with murder. The police explained that the autopsy lacked sufficient evidence to prove murder, only supporting a charge of negligent homicide. Additionally, there was no apparent motive for him to hate Nong Champu or her family. The final verdict. Despite significant public backlash, the court delivered its ruling on December 20th, 2023. The court acknowledged that while Nong Champu's body bore multiple injuries, they were only scratches and bruises, not severe enough to cause death. Thus, the Mukdahan court convicted Champu of 2 crimes: negligent homicide and abduction of a child under 15, sentencing him to 10 years for each, totaling 20 years in prison. As for his wife, insufficient evidence proved she intentionally misled the police, so she was acquitted. When a verdict was announced, many questioned, wasn't a strand of his wife's hair found? How was she acquitted? In reality, DNA technology at the time only identified the hair as belonging to Nong Champu's mother, not conclusively proving it was Champu's wife's. After the ruling, Champu immediately requested an appeal and paid a 180,000 baht bail to remain free. Leaving the courthouse, he and his lawyer held a press conference. The lawyer argued that, though the court deemed Champu the culprit, there wasn't enough evidence to pinpoint who took known Champu. Champu also prepared to compensate her family, including over 1 million baht for funeral expenses. Meanwhile, Champu garnered support from his fans. During this time, he became a victim in the public eye, with some even arguing he was more pitiful than known Champu and her family. After the appeal, the next hearing was postponed, pushing a final ruling further away. Since being released on bail, though barred from leaving Thailand, Champu has lived freely. He's not only a major shareholder in a cosmetics company, but also runs a fan page and YouTube channel with his wife, attracting tens of thousands of followers. Their videos often feature their 2 sons, sharing family life and hosting live streams to sell products. Though the case has faded from the spotlight and public outrage has subsided, a loyal group of fans remains convinced of Champu's innocence. Their ongoing media efforts and live streams continue to draw new supporters, polishing his public image. Estimates suggest that their video content and online activities alone generate over 3 million baht annually, a substantial sum. In the end, public opinion shifted, criticizing the media for overhyping the case. Some condemned the singer who invited Champu into a music video, showing little regard for his status as a suspect in a high-profile case. Meanwhile, netizens thanked the monks and villagers who bravely risked danger to uncover the truth. The community also apologized to known Champu's mother for the misunderstandings caused throughout the ordeal. Here, the story seems to conclude, but has it truly ended? Nowadays, Champu frequently appears on live streams, promoting virtuous deeds and rebuilding his image. Yet, the question lingers: is he genuinely atoning for past mistakes, or merely using tactics to craft a persona for profit and charity scams? Perhaps only Champu himself can answer that. Ultimately, a grave societal event was turned into a spectacle on TV and social media, disregarding the victim's family's pain. The suspect became an online celebrity, even profiting from his notoriety.